So good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you all for joining Leap's webinar. The topic for today is an introduction to Windchill PLM and the digital thread. So my name is Paul O'Shaughnessy and I'll be your host for today's webinar. I'm also the PTC Business Manager here at Leap Australia. I'm also joined today by Alan Thompson. He's the PTC Technical Manager here at Leap and he will be delivering most of today's presentation. So just to confirm, today's presentation and webinar will be approximately 60 minutes in duration. So today is the first event of what will be a 6-part series, and today's an introduction, and we'll be covering many topics for Windchill PLM. So Windchill is a very broad and deep solution. So what we've done is broken it up into bite-sized pieces. And as you can see from this slide here, there are 5 other topics after today that we're going to run through with the dates. I can see that many people have registered for multiple events, but if there are other topics you're interested in, you can still register. Please do so using the link that you see on the screen there. So today's agenda, first of all, we'll give a very brief introduction to Leap, and then Alan will explain in the next section what is meant by the term digital thread and importantly how that relates to PLM. And then Alan will take a closer look at Windchill and cover off on many of the core capabilities of Windchill and PLM that are required by companies today. And then for many of these items, Alan and his team will go through and explain and demonstrate more detail in the remaining 5 webinars, as I just mentioned. So a quick introduction to Leap. I'm sure many of you will have seen this slide before, and basically it simply highlights the types of products and vendors that Leap have represented in Australia and New Zealand for many years now. In fact, Leap have been in this business over 20 years in bringing software technology and services to Australia and New Zealand. As I say, our primary vendors are PTC and ANSYS, as you can see on the screen here. We're going to come back and talk a lot about PTC for the remainder of the webinar. But just here, so ANSYS is the world's largest simulation company. It provides solutions for multi-physics analysis and simulation, such as FEA and CFD, electromagnetic systems, and much, much more. On the PTC side, we're going to deep dive into the Windchill suite today, and I'll let Alan talk more about that. And what you'll also see is other complementary solutions that we look after as well, such as Rocky and Keyshot and Moldex and some others. So before I hand over to Alan, the content today it's relevant to people that are already using Windchill in some capacity, but it's also relevant for those that want to learn more about Windchill. So we've had quite a mix of people register for the event. So to get a feel for who's actually attended today, and we'll share this with you as well, if you could maybe just answer the quick poll question. So does your company currently use Windchill? Yes or no? You just quickly fill that out and then we'll share the result and I'll hand over to Alan. Pretty split at the moment. And I'll just share those results with you. So about just over 60% using Windchill and just under 40% not using Windchill. So hopefully something for everybody today. For those of you that are using Windchill, I think you'll see and hear some things that you probably haven't seen before. And for those that are not using Windchill, I'm sure there's lots of information that you'll find interesting. So with that, I'll hand over to Alan, who will run through the rest of today's presentation. Thanks, Alan.